Why is Black Socialism stupid? That's the name of today's presentation. Why is Black Socialism stupid? Now, I want you to understand first and foremost that a lot of times what we do is we mistake or we have to realize that when it comes to ideologies, that anybody can have more than one ideology, just like any nation can have more than one ideology. What I mean by more than one ideology, let's say you go into the nation called America. You can have liberals and neoliberals and socialists and conservatives and neo-Nazis. You can have all of that in one country. You can have all of that in one person. Okay? So what you're going to confront is there's going to be a cognitive dissonance when it comes to this idea that socialism is stupid, because a lot of the best nationalists, right? Because you could be a nationalist and a socialist. Not a Nazi, not a nationalist socialist, but I'm talking about a nationalist and you could be a socialist, right? So you will come across this cognitive dissonance and say, wait a moment, a lot of the best Africans on the continent were socialists, and I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you. A lot of them did hold on to socialism, and you know, at the same time, look, you could say a lot of the best ones were Anglophiles. You could say a lot of the best ones were Francophiles, or even English speakers, French speakers. You could be multiple things at once, right? The thing is that when you look into their lives, you will see how socialism messed them up. Okay, so I'm going to give you a clear example of I'm going to give you the names of these Black socialists that are awesome, amazing. Okay, and so there's going to be cognitive dissonance because you're going to be like, wait a second, if they're good people, those are good Africans. Why are you saying that they are? Why are you saying that the ideology is stupid? But don't get mistaken on the variability of human of the complexities of human life, of the complexities of human thought. Don't get caught up in that. So I'll give you the list though. Julius Nyerere, Kwame Nkrumah, Maurice Bishop, Amilcar Cabral, Sekou Touré, Thomas Sankara. That list right there, this list right here, right? These are Africans you should be studying. Okay? Powerful, heavy hitters. Okay? Unfortunately, they're all men. There were plenty of great women too, but these were world leaders. This is why I put them up. I put them up above even the Americans, because a lot of the Americans are just writers. Like even myself, I'm just a writer. If you want to be like right now, sure. If you got a presidency, if you want to put me on an election, let me run. All right, but yeah, these were top tier Africans, and yeah, you could say they were socialists. Okay, so but the only question is, what's wrong with Black socialism? And I'm going to give you three of these brothers. Three of these brothers, their lives was ruined. All of them really was ruined by socialism. But three of them, I'm gonna show you because I actually printed that in my book. But what is wrong with Black socialism? And you have to understand that, like I said, an ideology is something that goes towards the government. So what is scientific socialism? In the sense of what kind of a government is scientific socialism supposed to be set up for? Now, if you understand, a lot of people will tell you, well, the reason why we like socialism is because it's kind of like collectivism, and it's kind of, no, if you have the Marxist historiography, if you will, right? In the Marxist historiography, you go from 4 different stages of civilization, and this is excluding Africa. So they're saying, look, first off, the whole idea of scientific socialism is focused, centered around Europe already. So it's already, if you're a Black socialist, something wrong with you. But I'm not going to disrespect our ancestors. I'm disrespecting you. No, I'm joking. I'm disrespecting you. But what I'm saying is that when I say this, like, there's something wrong with all of us. Really, like, we dominated. There's something wrong with us. That's the fact that we dominated. There's nothing pejorative in that. The point I'm getting at with this scientific socialism is this: you go through the 4 stages. The 4 stages would be primitive socialism. So that's the thing that you would consider what you call, Africa and all that stuff, right? Primitive socialism. Then you go into feudalism. What is feudalism? Feudalism is a system wherein, so what's primitive socialism? Primitive socialism is basically, there's no ownership and everybody's sharing a lot of la-di-da. That was not a real situation. Or if that was a real situation, it was not like it was not like it's not like the highest. It's not really the aspirations that you're trying to attain. That's more like if you just did not have a government and yet you also were peaceable among each other, right? Feudalism is, oh, we're going to concentrate power into the hands of a few nobles and aristocrats and kings, and they're going to have the land ownership, and then the peasants are going to work it, and blah 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 blah. This is actually honestly, it's actually a king. It's actually a model from Africa, in the sense that the first monarchy in the world was Ptah Htp, no relation, right? Well, actually a big relation, right? But if you didn't know, my name is Onitaset Kumat. So you might Onitaset. What's Htp? Okay. But yeah, that right there is the second stage. You have feudalism, and again, like I said, it ties back into Africa, where we had our monarchs. So, you go to Kemet. Kemet had a Nesut, which you would call a king, inside of a federation, right? The next model, they say, would be capitalism, okay? So before you get to scientific socialism, you go to capitalism. Capitalism is this monster of a system where power is focused on the bourgeoisie. This is the people who own land, the people who own property, the people who own the means of production. Okay, so they are now the main power of a nation, in the sense that now the king is removed. The king is no longer the one governing contracts. It's more so this private enterprise who's trying to get the resources of the earth in order to exploit people. And so then the idea is that after a while, capitalism, the industrial ramifications of capitalism, that they can produce so much food, produce so much wealth, that there no longer needs to be this huge wealth gap. There no longer even needs to be this one set of, this one minority that is the bourgeoisie having all of these resources, when essentially the proletariat can uprise and have and control those means of production and equitably distribute it among the people. And that's where you would get socialism. Scientific socialism would be that the workers themselves use the materials of capitalism, right? They use the materials of capitalism in order to more equitably distribute it. So you'll have these communes that decide instead of these bourgeoisie who decide, right? You get rid of the bourgeoisie because he's just a middleman between so on and so forth, and you make the proletariat decide on how the industry is being used, how the resources are being distributed, and so on and so forth. As you can tell, it's a stupid idea. Okay, it's a stupid idea. Why in the first off, that would mean that white folk would have to destroy the hierarchy that has held them at bay for 2,000, 3,000 years. White people, if you don't understand, what you have to understand about white people is that they love fighting. They love violence. They love hurting people. They love harming people. Okay? White people, if you do not keep them at, what the white elite have learned is that the only way to hold white people back is to never stop holding them back. White people, and this is actually something that Garvey would tell you too. Garvey would tell you, look, at the end of the day, the people who were hanging you from trees weren't the rich bourgeoisie capitalists. It was the freaking proletariat. It was the working class white boy. Okay? The working class white boy, you want him to now have the resources of the earth. Listen to me. The scientific socialism is about a whole international government. An international government that gives all the resources of the earth to the proletariat. How stupid is that if you're in the middle of freaking Africa? You're in Africa. You're a black person. Why would you give the resources of your continent to white folk? For nothing. For what? You see? So what I'm saying is this. Let's say you're in the Congo. You're in the Congo. It's mineral rich. It has coltan. It's powering your laptops. It's powering your phones. All of that. You're telling me, right? Now here's the thing. In capitalism, what happens is the capitalist comes in, he shoots, destabilizes everything, and then that's when everybody gets this That's how he gets his resources. Okay? Now you're telling me the socialist, okay, the scientific socialist, the socialist is going to then also have these resources. Okay? You're saying the socialist is going to, like, how is the socialist going to have the coltan? How are they going to get the coltan? How are they going to get the coltan? And why are they getting coltan? So the socialists are going to be somewhere in the middle of freaking Germany, right? The central command, the central base, the central commune is going to be in the middle of Germany. Okay, it's not going to be in Africa. Why would it be in Africa? You see, it's not going to be in Africa. And even if it were in Africa, you're basically saying the people of the Congo no longer have you're surrendering the resources to the people in Berlin. That's what socialism is. You see? That's what socialism is. That's why I said black socialism is stupid. And again, you have to realize, now you're saying to yourself, wait a moment. Now, because some people might be like, well, that's just scientific socialism. That's just communism. You know, we can have socialism in our country. That's why I said you got to go into the examples. So the examples that I would give you would be, like I said, I have in this book Maurice Bishop, Julius Nyerere, and Thomas Sankara. The Thomas Sankara example is more the essay that he writes, the speech he's preparing to write before he's assassinated, which basically the speech is like, hey, there's some traitors among us, you know? But that's not really that bad. Julius Nyerere, I don't even want to pick up the book. What I'm saying is Julius Nyerere, right now, you read the book, you get the book, here's the book that I wrote. Here's the book I wrote. It's the Book of Power, right? Julius Nyerere, in this book, he will tell you out of his mouth, or at least if you know him, he would say, look, we made these Ujama villages. They were working pretty good. That's the kind of socialism that you think that you like, right? We made these Ujama villages. They were really good. But then I was like, I'm not socialist enough. What I need to do is I need to get state bureaucracies. Stop this village stuff. What we need to do is we need to get the state itself to basically supplant the culture that African people were doing, and instead decide on how the resources are split from the state. He said it out of his own mouth. That's how he failed. Out of his own mouth. And here's another thing too. Like again, when you go back to the timeline that I was giving you, socialism comes after capitalism. So you have to rush the industrialization of a nation. You have to rush the industrial. A lot of the African nations were not capitalist countries, okay? And by capitalist countries, I mean they did not have private individuals who owned the means of production to such a large extent, to such a large degree. And sure, you can get rid of those people. You don't want exploiters. You don't want producers. And nobody's saying that you want those stuff. Don't try to mix socialism as the only philosophy that is anti-capitalist. Again, I'm going to give you an ideology in this book, the Book of Power. It's going to be, I'm going to call it right now, the Pan-African Federalism. Pan-African Federalism, that's what I'm going to write my next book on. Oh, not my next book, but the book after that. Or it's going to be one of the next 2 books, right? Or 3 books. Pan-African Federalism is essentially, like if you're following Ma'at, you understand that in Ma'at, you're not about exploitation. In Ma'at, you're not about exploitation. In Ma'at, you are about reciprocity. So you're not going to have that exploitative nature anyway. What the Ujama villages were that Ma'at reciprocity. And then Nyerere came over it and supplanted it with this Western socialist idea that was, I don't like exploitation, but it's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. It basically wasn't federalist enough. Okay, it was kind of authoritarian, and it failed for that reason. The other one, of course, would be Maurice Bishop. Maurice Bishop, excellent example of a human being. You know, all of them, Thomas Sankara, Maurice Bishop, all of them, just great Africans. Okay, Maurice Bishop, though, what you're going to see is that I'm going to put in the book, and you could hear it. You could go on YouTube, listen to his speech that he gives in Hunter College in New York. Okay. In that speech, he will tell you that ABC, the channel in America. There's a channel in America called ABC. It's one of the American broadcasting company, maybe, I don't know. Well, but they go over on Ronald Reagan's behest and walk around and look at his airport, and he's just the least suspicious. He's not suspicious at all. He's just, oh, okay, yeah, okay, no, we don't have a military base. It's not a military base. It's an airport. No. No. You thought this was a surveillance tower? No, it's not a surveillance tower. It's just a tower, and we have white workers, we have American workers, we have Cuban workers, we have this one and so forth. Ronald Reagan then invaded the country and said, hey, they got American workers there. After ABC, and that's the same channel that, gives you Blackish and all that crap. After ABC told them, he invited ABC in, and he's bragging about it. If you go to the Hunter College, he's bragging about it. But that's why you have to realize, because one of the things that socialism does is that socialism is trying to make you not be racialist. Make you, like all these socialists, you go down the list of socialists, they're not looking at race. They're like, oh, I don't want you to see race. No, race is not, And it's like, look, I understand to an extent why you would try to not be super hyper, blah, 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 blah. But, you understand? I also know that if a white boy comes to interview me, he's trying to look for information. He's trying to look for intelligence to kill me. Okay, I already know that. You hear me? So, just to conclude, like I said, this is why this is why I wanted to say Black socialism is stupid, because one, like in Maurice Bishop's case, you're not looking at race. You just, what we need to do is, we love all people and all people are good and blah 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 blah. That's not the ideology. Like, you need to be informed on what it is that it takes for Nyeri's case, and this is Nyeri's case, or this is for socialism in general. You have to rush the development of industry, because you have to reach the capitalist stage in order to then become a socialist. You understand? That's the whole timeline. Go back to Marx. You want to rush, and so what happens is that, you might be like, well, Lenin and Mao offer two other examples, but again, I say go back to Marx. When it comes to Lenin and Mao, and they too were authoritarian, they too came with, huge casualties. And I'm not saying casualties are the worst thing in the world. I'm not saying that. What I would say, but again, it goes back to what's the end goal. The end goal would be that international solidarity, that international resource sharing. You're the richest nation. You're the richest countries in the world. Why are you sharing your resources if you could hold on to them for yourself? Okay? Why? Like it doesn't even like again, like I said, if you're in the Congo, you could just build a stable Congolese government, right? Share your resources with your neighboring African countries. They can share the resources along the borders of Africa, and that's it. You don't have to give anything to Berlin. You don't have to give anything to freaking Mongol or wherever, or whatever, Taipei, whatever. You don't have to give anything to anyone else. Socialism will tell you, yes, you do. Oh, yes, we're all people. We're all human beings. Okay. So I would say this. I'm looking to write a book on ideologies. That's what I want to tell you. What I want from you is look out for that book. Get this book. Write a review. I want you to read this book. This is going to be your study while I'm writing the other books. Okay. This is going to be your study. You read the Book of Power. You can get your knowledge. You can see these socialists. Look, I'm telling you, they're good people. They're good people. Socialism is dumb. So stop following socialism. That's it. Start following Pan-African federalism. And if you feel like, hey, look, I'm a socialist and I believe that my ideology is smart. Look, come, let's talk. We can go on live. We can talk. All right, we can talk like grown people, right? And that's it. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. I hope you grasped why that was dumb, and why Black socialism is dumb. Again, you don't want to have an international. You can't have international unity. That's stupid. International unity does not make any sense. Again, you have to look at the history of the people who are writing about this socialism. Look at the history of the people who are writing about this socialism. Okay? Do not fool primitive socialism with scientific socialism, because again, there was no such thing as a primitive. The primitive socialism isn't really what you think it is. Okay, it's not what you think it is. It's not. It's not. It's not like that's just stupid. You're talking about capitalism. You're talking about an outgrowth of capitalism. You're talking about the means of production, like huge enterprises. There wasn't this need for the Earth's resources in this quote unquote primitive socialism. And like if you're being honest, there was mining in ancient Africa. There was agriculture, all that stuff. It wasn't oh let's all share the mine equally. That wasn't the case at all. So it's just unrealistic bollocks that doesn't apply to us as a people. And again, you're following a stupid ideology if you're following black socialism. So I want you to get informed, get these books, get out there, and we need to stop following these dumb ideologies, because that's pretty much all that we're doing. That's pretty much all that we're doing, and we're taking the L for it. Okay, Julius Nyerere was like one of the best Africans of the Ma'afa, one of the best Africans of the Ma'afa. Like top 2, 3, but he messed up because he was like, I gotta follow the socialist model. You don't have to do that. We can go far. We will go far, and it's happening. It's happening right now. So thank you so much for listening. Asante Sana. Like, subscribe, share. If I'm putting out videos, I want you to see them first. Okay? And Shem Yamotep and Ptah Htp.